Hello Mustang enthusiast and SVT enthusiast. Today we're going to make a short video here about getting my car ready for a track weekend coming up at Willow Springs with Cobra Club. We're going to go through the whole car today and we're going to check all the parts. We're going to raise the car up on quick jacks, take tires off, put track tires on, go over all the nuts and bolts, check for leaks, make sure the car is ready to and safely ready to go on track. We don't want things leaking, falling off. We're going to check absolutely everything we can find. You'll notice the car looks a little different than it did in other videos. I have my track hood on, which is a Mustang hood that I modified, not my Cobra hood, but a Mustang hood that I modified and put some vents in it and help cool the engine, and the intercooler works quite well. So here you see how the car looks right now, and as we get ready to go to the track, we're going to put this thing up on the quick jacks, take the tires off, and we're going to do a few things to it, and I'm going to just talk you through a few things that if you go on track, that you know what you should be doing. You notice here we're going to put the car there. The car is up in the air and tires are off, and I'm going to go and inspect everything underneath the car, all the brakes, the calipers, the attaching hardware, the wheel bearings. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to check for, you name it, whatever. I'm going to check for leaks. I'm going to check the suspension components. Make sure everything is tight and secure. So we're going to get moving out on the track. We'll probably get up to speed, maybe the highest speed at Willow Springs is where we're going. Probably be somewhere between 125 and 135 miles an hour, along with a lot of stress put on suspension components as we go around some corners and make sure our brakes are good. You'll notice here I'm going to crawl under the car and just literally check everything over. So important that when you get on track that you're focused on going out there and being safe. You don't want to travel and go all the way to the track and not be able to compete and have fun because you've neglected something, you have a problem. So here we are, we're just checking components and bolts and nuts. Every piece of hardware I go over. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but I just want you to see how important this is to go over it. And then after we're done with all the leak checking and bolts and nuts and fasteners, we're going to look at some other things underneath the car, and we're going to bleed all the brakes. We're going to start on the right rear, the farthest from the master cylinder. We're going to bleed them till we get clean fluid out of the brake bleeder. You'll see this in a second here. And we want no moisture in the brake lines, because moisture will boil, and as you get the brakes really hot when you're on the track, your brake pedal will fade. We don't want any of that. Here you can see we've got a wrench on, we've got the brake hose, brake bleeder connected to it, and we can just bleed the way on that brake. And then we're going to go from the right rear to the left rear to the right front and then the left front. That's how we're going to check everything and make sure that it's all bled out properly. You can see I'm opening the bleeder. You can't really see the fluid coming out, but it is, and that will help. Then we're going to move on, and we're going to, after we're all done with that, we're going to look at the tires. These are my street tires and my factory Cobra chrome wheels. Also a my valve stem cap. I had to show you that. Little Cobra snake on there. Just a little added touch. And then we're going to go on, and I have marked all these tires, by the way. Here's my track tires. On the inside of the rims, I have marked all the tires, so I rotate them because they take a pretty good beating out on the track. So I know where they were, and I want them on the other side. And try to even out the wear on these tires. And you can see here, this is a 100 tread wear Nitto NT01. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this real well on here, but you can see the Nitto well, but I don't know if you can see that it's NT01, which is their stickiest track tire. It's a tread wear 100 tire. These tires have got a few events on them already, and you can see they've got some wear on them. You can kind of see here, you see the rubber kind of peeled off. They work pretty well, and they're consistent. So here you see, got the tires laid out, getting ready to put them back on the car. All the bolts and nuts and hardware has been checked. And we're going to proceed to lower the car down on the quick jacks. I'm going to raise it up a little bit, flip up the locks, which is what you see me doing here. I'm going to just lift it a little bit to unlock them. And then I will go and release the locks on the left and right side and lower it down to the next lower level so I don't have to lift the tire so high. You should see that happening shortly. Use your mind, not your back. So basically, I don't have a hoist other than a quick jack here. It would be nice if I had a hoist, but I do not. And we'll lower it. There you can see the car coming down, and it's going to lock itself in, and then we're safe. We can stick the tires back on. And what I do when I put the tires back on the car, I use my legs to lift the tires up. You'll see that later. And I have a little impact driver here that I just use to snug up the nuts on the wheels. It's not a final torque or anything. It's just a quick way of getting everything on. And here you're going to see me shove these tires back on. I'm just going to show you one. This is what I do. And you'll see how I use my legs to lift them up. Makes it much simpler. Stick a couple of I'll put one lug nut on first, snug it up so it stays on there and doesn't drop off the center hub. And just lightly snug it up. And then I'll put the other nuts on, tighten them up. Just probably tighten to 10 or 12 foot-pounds. Not very much. Just a small 1/4-inch drive impact driver. I don't want to use a big impact wrench on my nuts. They're chrome and they'll kind of tear them up. But this is a light-duty thing, and it works very well for doing this. So there you can see I'm snugging them up, and it's gonna be done here in a minute. And then we will go on and do the other ones. There we are. You see tires on, wheel spins, everything's good. We're going to then lower the car back on the ground, and we're going to torque the wheels to specs, which in my case is 105 foot-pounds or pound-feet. I guess that's the correct way of saying it. And you notice I'm lifting up on the torque wrench. I'm not pushing down on it. I'm lifting up. And that way you can do it easier, and you don't have to jump on the torque wrench. You see a lot of people, they don't know how to use these tools properly. So it should be tightening, and that's right hand thread, so right clockwise is tight. I'm lifting up on the torque wrench, and in a star-shaped pattern to tighten these wheels on. We're going to have them all done here pretty quick, and I'll just show you the torque wrench. I don't know that it'll do you much good, but this is the old style, like a micrometer. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. It gives you some idea of things you should do, and I'll let you know how the track event goes. I'll make a video after that, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe. Thanks again.